What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. So today I'm going to continue with the character series, talking about characters I don't want to play, characters that are underplayed, etc. And I'm going to talk about a character today that is really underplayed, that people kind of hype up sometimes. I don't want to go so far as slept on, because this character is not talked about very often. And this is a character I've actually played in tournaments. That is Majin Buu. If you like the content I've been putting out, please consider liking this video or subscribing to the channel if you already have not, or do both. It does help the channel grow and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that, again, today is why I stopped playing Majin Buu. So we're kind of approaching it again at a kind of different angle this time. And before we start talking about him specifically, I have to tell you where I was at to even get to the point where I picked him. So we're going back to the end of season 1 into Dragon Ball season 2, right? As a quick reminder, this was the team I used at the World Tour Finals in Dragon Ball FighterZ season 1. I had a pretty, for lack of a better word, just like real talk with one of my main training partners about the game and about the characters in the game. And I flew home from Los Angeles just like, alright, I think I pretty much have chosen on a team, right? And the two characters I knew for sure that I was going to play were Bardock and Yamcha together, right? I was pretty sure about those two. Bardock, the perennial top tier of season 1, right? He had won many large tournaments. He did not win the World Tour Finals, but it was pretty close. Fenrich got second that year. Yamcha was on the winning team. Yamcha ran the game for months along with El Gohan and Gotenks, and it didn't seem like they were really going to take down Yamcha, so I thought it was a pretty safe pick. But the third character, aka my middle, because I was going to use Yamcha and Anchor, was a pretty hard choice. But after narrowing it down, I picked Majin Buu. So why Majin Buu? To be honest, the main reason, there was two main reasons I decided to go with Majin Buu. One is actually because of Alioun. We all know about Alioun. Alioun is smoking people with Majin Buu. He has believed in Majin Buu for a long time, and also believed in other characters that I have not played. A couple of them that you would expect me to play, one of them being Android 21. I didn't believe in this character totally when the game came out. Alioun did. In hindsight, this character was clearly a top tier character pre-Evo, for example. So I trusted his judgment on the character, and after discussing Majin Buu with Alioun, I was like, you know what, this character, has the sauce. I've seen like Majin Buu Yamcha stuff because Alioun was using that shell at the time. I believe it was 21 Majin Buu Yamcha at the World Tour Final. So I was like, okay, Majin Buu Yamcha is already a thing. Bardock is Bardock, and they're not going to nerf him. So we're in a pretty good spot running this team. So first, I want to talk about the things that I really liked about him and things that I think are really strong. So one, of course, is the screen control. So he has really big normals. He's got jump heavy and jump too heavy. These moves are really big and control a lot of space. His 2H also reaches really high. I believe this was a season 2 change, but his 5H carries dash momentum better. It was not like that originally, so you basically get like almost a full screen normal that's like 15 frames. So pretty good. Another really good thing about him is that, and this kind of ties into the screen control, is that he has things that lets him play neutral without assists, and he can play neutral and beat Super Dash at the same time, which is really important to me. So for example, he's got like the standard key blast. His is pretty fast though. He has multiple. So if someone is trying to zone you a little bit, he has the butt slam. It is really fast and hard to see, and you generally have to wait for it. I actually think in season 3 they changed this because it is the EX move, so I had the feeling that before this would travel all the way to you before. Now kind of like you just get the shockwave. Of course, with an assist you're in, so if you have like Yamcha or something, you can just call him, and then when they're alone you have to worry about it too. He also has Fat Throw. Fat Throw just beats Super Dash and it'll go over, and you're pretty plus. So they need to either just get around it or run under it, and he has really big normals, so you can like get in there. He's a character in season 1 that had a sword normal, so like now a lot of the DLC characters it's pretty easy to jab super dashes, but in season 1 not that many characters were that good at doing it, but he's always had a super huge JL. His mobility is really good as well, so he can get to the ground really quickly with cartwheels if he wants, or he could float. His float is also different than other characters characters, he's floatier in the air than other characters too, so his mobility is a little bit different than other characters. Now, on top of that is offense. So he's of course we all know he's kind of a mixed machine. So when you have like a block stun assist, you can do this into high lows, which is really nice. He has a move that pulls you in, so in sparking you have cross ups, but you can cross up in general. You can use butt slam for cross ups, depending how you set it up. So he has fat throw restands too. I believe you need an assist for this version, but you're not really planning on playing Anchor Majin Buu, so these things are possible. His meter build is also pretty good. So he's a character that has pretty unusual combo structure, to say the least. But generally in the corner, you could access this type of loop. Depending on the starter, you get a bunch of reps. It's really, really good for building meter. And last, his assist was better than I gave it credit for. It's pretty big. It's a really good defensive assist if you call it at the right time. So for instance, like one of the things I would do is I would dash up and just call it. And if you time it right, or if they move in at the wrong time, then you just get them to pop up like that. The hitbox is quite high as well. So this example here, we'll have him jump in like this. You can see that it does reach kind of high, like jump height, which is kind of nice. The block stun is okay, the speed's okay. It kind of varies here, like it's 20 frames, depends on the character, what you're trying to do. It works as a screen control and a defensive assist really well, in my opinion. Now, problems. So now we're looking at the team in general. So I did make a video at the beginning of the year of why I dropped Trunks, and you remember that team was Bardock, Trunks, Yamcha. Trunks was the replacement for Majin Buu. He has some of the same issues. Basically, this team type of build always has the same issues. I think Majin Buu assist was worse against it, but it was really bad against defensive kind of super jump float type of things. The nice thing about beam assist is that if you build the right type of neutral structure, you can target this and stop them and force them to the ground. But when you don't use something that doesn't reach full screen, it just gets harder. The good news was I could use Bardock in combination with Majin Buu, but Majin Buu appears kind of far behind, so it turned into something similar that, like, if I got them near the corner somehow, like my strategy was like, if they're going to play this way, I'll corner them because they're going to corner themselves, and then I'll try to call Majin Buu because it takes up a lot of space. Another thing about his assist is that, it's skinny right next to you. So it looks the way, the hitbox is what it looks like. So if I do like this, for example, this will not hit at all. It's very, very small behind it. It has a big box and then small behind. It was kind of hard sometimes to position calling his assist. Now, another thing too came from what happens when he's out. So it started feeling like I was doing a lot of work with him and not being supported by my assist. So he does help out my other characters. Yamcha, of course, helped out a ton. Majin Buu helps out kinda. But when Majin Buu's out, like, he can get really enabled by full screen assist or like tracking assist. So like things like Majin Buu Go Tanks or Majin Buu SSJ Goku, Majin Buu 21, stuff like that. A lot of his tools get accented by those full screen tools and become really strong. But in this case, for example, like, so this is plus 18, right? So I could run behind it for sure once it's out, and it is good. But this combined with a beam is very, 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 very strong. You cover the whole jump height and you get to approach. He has a lot of stuff that if you have full screen tools, it's much stronger. So when he was out, it kind of felt like I was playing one character with scramble assist, but he really wanted full screen control. So the team had some neutral structure that worked really well with these kind of point blank assists. One being like this, so you get to just be in like that. Controlling space with these type of moves at the mid range is really nice. But again, like having only mid range, unless you have an especially strong anti-air assist, makes your play more unstable. And I really started to feel it really fast. The last thing too is that while I thought he was good, despite like thinking things that, oh, my team doesn't enable him enough, like he helps my teammates, but he doesn't get it that much from my assists. He's a hard character to play, like legitimately. Speaking as somebody who's played other fighting games, a bunch of other fighting games, most of the characters in this game are not that hard. A lot of the issues that come from playing other characters are usually like they're just missing something that you need to cover with an assist or something like that, or like they don't have a way to mix you up easily or something like that. He's like legitimately hard to play, especially since if you really want to push him, you have to do his optimal stuff and you can drop it. Things like his corner loops and stuff like that, you can mess those things up. In tournaments, sometimes it felt kind of unstable too. And while I was thinking about whether or not I should play Trunks, I did think about, for instance, like the Kazunoko team, even though there was like super optimal stuff you can do, he played it a pretty simple way. It was really effective, of course, but just like really simple and strong. Like it felt like I was working exceptionally hard when I wasn't maximizing his strengths. So that was like a really downside to me as well. As a tournament player, I do think about how hard it is to do things in tournament. It's a thought I've had from like Guilty Gear days, because my Guilty Gear main Milia is also kind of a hard tournament character to play depending on what version she is, and I kind of felt that way about Majin Buu. Like he's a hard character to play in tournament compared to like, let's say like a Bardock or like a Yamcha, right? Bardock is pretty easy to play. There's only like a couple of hard things he has, and it's negligible, right? And Yamcha is a pretty easy character to play as well, especially compared to Majin Buu. So with all that in mind, after final round, so it was about maybe 6 weeks playing this squad, and after especially hard losses at final round, I decided to drop him and play Trunks. And it felt like the first hour of playing Trunks again, I felt so much more powerful. Even not with like no setups, no combos, or nothing. I'm just like, man, this feels so much better and easier than playing Majin Buu. I never thought Majin Buu was bad, and I always rated him highly in Season 2 as well. I just felt like he really needed to have something built around him for him to really maximize his strengths. This character, I didn't mention this, but a lot of the new tech and stuff that was found in Season 2, especially involving like snap mix-ups and stuff, he could all do. So his offense is out of control, and a lot of times people are like, why don't you play Majin Buu if you want to mix people so bad, or if you want to like snap people so bad, or if you hate the knockdown system like that. It's mostly because of these reasons. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. He's not really slept on. Like, Majin Buu is usually not in the conversation at all as far as characters that are good, even though a lot of people rate him very highly. It's just like he's a pretty hard character to play. You have to build around him. It's probably easier in Season 3 to do that than ever before, to be fair. But at the moment, again, he's a really, really rare character. But he's one of the rare / slept on characters that I've actually played. So hopefully my explanation made sense. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.